Hello, today we're going to talk about how to choose the right omega-3. In this video, I'll explain what forms of omega-3 exist, which fatty acids they contain, how they work in the body, and which dosages are clinically validated for different conditions. And most importantly, how to figure out which product is right for you and what to pay attention to when making a purchase. My name is Maya Fromina, I'm a registered dietitian and preventive medicine specialist. And you're on the channel where we talk about nutrition, beauty, and health. Be sure to subscribe if these topics interest you. Click the bell icon and of course give this video a like. And share in the comments, do you take omega-3 fatty acids and how do you choose them? So let's start with the most important question. What are omega-3 fatty acids? They are a special type of polyunsaturated fats that are essential for human health but cannot be produced by the body on its own. We need to obtain them through food or supplements. The main types of omega-3 are alpha-linolenic acid, eicosapentaenoic acid, and docosahexaenoic acid. Alpha-linolenic acid is found mainly in plant-based sources, such as flax seeds, chia seeds, and walnuts. But here's an important point. It barely converts into the active forms EPA and DHA. The conversion efficiency of alpha-linolenic acid into eicosapentaenoic acid is only about 5%, and into docosahexaenoic acid less than 1%. That's why if you're not getting omega-3s from fish or supplements, you're likely in a state of potential deficiency. Now let's talk about eicosapentaenoic and docosahexaenoic acids. These are the two key fatty acids responsible for most of the clinically proven benefits of omega-3s, but each of them has its own function. EPA is a fatty acid with strong anti-inflammatory potential. It influences vascular tone, triglyceride levels, and immune response. We recommend it for chronic inflammatory conditions, depression, autoimmune disorders, and cardiovascular diseases. DHA is a structural component. It is a part of neuronal membranes and plays a key role in the development of the cerebral cortex, the retina, and the myelin sheath. DHA is especially important during periods of rapid brain growth, in the prenatal stage and early childhood. However, in adults, it also supports cognitive function, memory, attention, and helps slow down neurodegenerative processes. Now let's take a closer look in what forms is omega-3 available. Most often on pharmacy shelves you will find omega-3 in 4 forms: ethyl esters, triglycerides, either native or re-esterified, and phospholipids. Ethyl esters are a synthetically modified form of omega-3 with relatively low bioavailability. They are produced by chemically processing natural fish oil. Fatty acids are essentially bound to ethanol. The body does not recognize them as natural fats, so additional enzymatic processing is required for absorption. This means extra work for the liver and gallbladder, which makes ethyl esters not the best choice for people with sensitive digestive system, liver, or biliary dysfunction. That said, this form does have its advantages. It is cheaper to produce and allows for a high concentration of EPA and DHA per serving. Triglycerides are the form closest to what occurs naturally. On the label, you will usually see this listed as TG or RTG. TG refers to native triglycerides, the form naturally found in fish. In this form, the fatty acids are bound to glycerol. It is bioavailable and natural. However, the content of EPA and DHA is usually low, often only 20–30% of the total oil content. Therefore, to achieve a clinical or pronounced anti-inflammatory effect, higher doses are required. RTG refers to re-esterified triglycerides. This is a reconstructed form produced in the lab. Omega-3s are first converted into ethyl esters to allow for purification and concentration, and then they are reattached to glycerol to recreate the structure of natural triglycerides, but now with a high concentration of EPA and DHA, up to 90%. However, the re-esterification process may not be 100% complete, which means the final product can still contain a mix of RTG and residual ethyl esters. The advantage of triglycerides is their good bioavailability and minimal or no gastrointestinal side effects. An additional benefit for esterified triglycerides is the high concentration of EPA and DHA. The phospholipid form of omega-3 fatty acids is found mainly in krill oil. Unlike the triglyceride and ethyl ester forms, here EPA and DHA are bound to phospholipids, structurally similar to those found in cell membranes. As a result, absorption is faster and more efficient, even in cases of reduced bile secretion or digestive disorders. Although the content of EPA and DHA is relatively low, usually no more than 200 mg per serving, the bioavailability of this form is the highest, which delivers a biological effect comparable to that of more concentrated triglyceride or ester-based formulations. The phospholipid form has an ability to penetrate tissues, particularly the cells of the brain and nervous system. This makes it effective in protocols aimed at protecting neural tissue and preventive cognitive decline. Now, let's talk about dosages. For a healthy adult, the basic daily dosage to support brain function, vascular health, and hormonal balance is about 1,000 mg of combined EPA plus DHA. Don't confuse this with the total amount of fish oil. Always check the actual content of active components. A fish oil capsule might be labeled as containing 1,000 mg of omega-3, but in reality, it may only provide 300 mg of EPA plus DHA, while the rest consists of phospholipids, saturated fats, residual esters, and inactive fractions. In cases of inflammatory processes, skin and joint diseases, autoimmune conditions, elevated triglyceride levels, insulin resistance, or chronic stress, the dosage may be higher, from 2,000 to 4,000 mg per day. Such doses are used in clinical practice, but should always be tailored individually, together with a healthcare professional. For adults, the optimal EPA to DHA ratio is approximately 2:1, while for improving cognitive function, a 1:1 ratio may be preferred. During pregnancy, the main emphasis is placed on DHA, typically from 300 to 800 mg per day. This is essential for the development of the baby's brain and visual system. In children as well, the content of DHA should predominate. It is critically important for growth and development. When and how should you take omega-3? It's best to take omega-3 during or immediately after a meal, especially if the meal contains fats. This improves absorption and reduces the risk of gastrointestinal side effects. Avoid taking it on an empty stomach. How can you check your omega-3 levels? Omega-3 is not a quick fix. The effects develop gradually and require consistency. To objectively assess your omega-3 levels, I recommend doing an omega-3 index test. This is a lab test that shows what percentage of red blood cell membranes is made up of EPA and DHA. The optimal range is considered to be between 8 and 12%. How long should you take omega-3? I recommend taking omega-3 on an ongoing basis. Why? Because for most people, even regular fish consumption does not provide optimal omega-3 levels. According to research, even when consuming 2 servings of fatty fish per week, in line with World Health Organization recommendations, the omega-3 index rarely reaches 8%, which is considered protective against many diseases. Now let's talk about storing omega-3, because in this case, it's very important. Omega-3s are polyunsaturated fatty acids, which means they oxidize easily, especially when exposed to air, light, heat, and humidity. Omega-3 supplements should be stored in a cool, dry, dark place. If it's in liquid form, always in the refrigerator. If omega-3 is stored incorrectly, for example near the stove, in direct light, or in a clear container, the fatty acids will start to oxidize. This destroys the EPA and DHA, reduces bioavailability, and can lead to the formation of aldehydes, which are not only useless but also toxic. Oxidized fish oil promotes inflammation. To prevent omega-3 oxidation, pay attention to the antioxidants included in the formula. They protect the fatty acids from degradation and loss of effectiveness. Common antioxidants used are astaxanthin, tocopherol, rosemary extract, grapeseed extract, and olive oil polyphenols. In the context of protecting omega-3s from oxidation, astaxanthin is by far the most effective. It is an extremely powerful carotenoid that perfectly stabilizes fats. It works specifically in the lipid environment, meaning it protects the fatty acids themselves, and does so with maximum efficiency. In comparison, polyphenols tend to be hydrophilic or only moderately lipophilic, so their antioxidant activity in lipid environments is lower than that of astaxanthin. So to summarize, the average omega-3 dosage for adults is about 1,000 milligrams of EPA and DHA per day. Always pay attention to the actual content of EPA and DHA in milligrams. For adults, the ratio usually favors a high proportion of EPA, while for children and pregnant women, the focus should be on DHA. The best forms are re-esterified triglycerides, which offer high bioavailability and a high concentration of omega-3 per serving, as well as phospholipids and native triglycerides, which also provide good bioavailability, but with a lower concentration of EPA and DHA. Pay attention to the antioxidants included in your omega-3 supplements. Choose omega-3 products that come in dark or fully opaque packaging and store them properly. Make sure the product is certified. Look for certifications such as IFOS, GOED, and others. Omega-3 is one of the safest nutraceuticals, but like any biologically active substance, it should be used with care. Omega-3 has a mild antiplatelet effect, meaning it can slightly thin the blood. Therefore, if you are taking anticoagulants, it is important to consult your doctor regarding dosage and safety. If you found this helpful, please give this video a like, subscribe, and feel free to leave your questions on this topic in the comments. See you soon!